Good morning, comrades. You are listening to WHIVLP New Orleans 102.3. This is your weekly Good Morning Comrade. Jeff and Robert here on the show. Robert, what's popping?
I'm trying to. I've got an invite to go on a podcast or some kind of show. It's called the Adam Friedland Show. I don't know if you heard about it.
Oh yes, let's go.
You got to talk to our agent though. I'm hearing that might not be good for our careers. We might get. We gotta get smoked. We might get Richie Torres if we go on there.
Well, you're not a horrible Zionist, so I don't think he's be coming for your neck like he is some of those other people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I did post some spicy tweets years ago about him getting about Adam breaking up with Dasha because Dasha from Red Scare found out he had sex with the Witten. And if anybody knows who the Witten is,
I don't know who the Witten is.
Witten is like it's she's actually in one of like the old Andrew Callahan videos, like the old Channel 5 videos. Mm-hmm. She's like this really weird like cat girl, like a girl. She looks like if I'm trying to think like a North Shore 7 was an e-girl, but she's still pretty hot though.
That's fine. Like
I'm still mad. I would have done it. I would have done it too. I'm not hating.
And God, what a fall from grace for people that don't know. This is like super online, but like she went from the like Sailor Moon, like Sailor Socialist, where she's like, yeah, I support Bernie, Medicare for all or whatever, and now she's like a trad wife. Like Red Scare just like screwed up everything. It's horrible.
I'm so glad I never listened to one episode of Red Scare.
I listened to some of it, and it just was a mess.
I am a big time C-Town listener, but yeah, I mean, I can name C-Town bits like people know their, can remember all their like 13 kids' names or something. But like, I'm never have I listened to her. I do. Is Dasha, like, I told the story about Hulk Hogan, like meeting Hulk Hogan all the time, like running into him as a kid, and I always knew something was up with him. Dasha, I felt the same way. Like I would see her and stuff, and I'd be like,
not so sure about her.
No, you're like you're like a bad version of Amber from Chavo Trap House. There's something about you, and I can't put my finger on it. And I guess we all found out what it was.
Yeah, they're still doing it. They're still doing their stuff, like interviewing Steve Bannon and whatever, and like not like a critical way. I will say that I did see that Brace from this is a podcasting roundup, I guess.
Oh God, yeah. But like, Aaron will love this. The wife will she listens to TrueAnon like religiously. Like
Brace had Ashley St. Clair on recently. I haven't listened to the episode
fair enough.
But she was the lady that was like that's the one that said that Elon propositioned her to like host her babies or something like that.
Absolutely. I believe it. Because she was like, because we're kind of the same age, like Elon Musk and I, and like that woman was like, she's on like a lot of people's Mount Rushmore for sure.
Oh, really?
Like, I can't believe Dasha's like doing a trad wife thing though. Like a trad wife for who? Like what?
Like got married or whatever.
She did? Who is it? I'm gonna have to look that up later. Like what? Like that? Like what? For who?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Sure. All right. Different strokes, different
people who are listening to the radio. That's your view into the online madness of like the weirdest parts of the internet. About
we just want to get as many people tuned out as soon as possible.
People from 2016 remember. People from 2015 remember, but like nobody else cares.
That's what we're trying to do out here. We're trying to get stop now that the BS is over. Now we can shake out who's really down for the socialist revolution. Okay, meet behind the Trader Joe's.
Yeah. Now that the douchebags are gone.
Yeah. Now we got all the feds out of the chat.
Or they're sleeping.
Yeah.
Regardless, I did want to. So, like, speaking of media and speaking of, I think this is really important. We missed an opportunity, Robert. We missed a real opportunity to get involved with this budding group called Chorus. And the 1630 have you seen this article?
All right, I have heard people yap about it on the interwebs.
All right, well, I pulled it up.
I don't read. Who read? Reading is.
Well, we're gonna read together. We have something very fun to talk about. Okay, we're gonna be reading together. I'm sorry. I'm gonna make you do some homework. Okay, I'm gonna make you eat some vegetables. But yeah. Dark money group secretly funding high-profile Democratic influence. This could have been us.
Wired is hitting, bro. Wired is the new spy magazine. Because Wired was the same. Wired dropped hey, guess what? The Epstein jail footage is definitely fake.
Yeah,
Wired is busting, bro. I might have to get another. I used to have a subscription in when I was like in high school, but I don't know. That in 2600, I had a subscription to that too.
It used to be a tech mag, and now it's like doing deep journalism.
This is better, dude. They busting. They're like the Teen Vogue of tech now.
Yeah, and by the way, if you're watching
sneaky journalism,
Taylor Lorenz, please unblock me on Twitter. You got mad at me over George the Cat a couple of years ago. I don't know why you blocked me.
You got blocked by Taylor.
It was over. Okay. It was over.
Brother, that you got enough motion to get blocked by Taylor Lorenz.
No, it was because there was like a controversy where George the Cat, that internet cat, it got like they had a bunch of people were mad at it because like somebody was whining about completely like trashing their whatever the grocery pickup app is, like Instacart person.
Yeah.
Like and they were like giving them like crap. And George is like, idea, get your own groceries. And then it became an entire argument about like disability rights or whatever, or disability stuff. And it was just like really annoying.
Like, we're obviously not talking about people who can't get their own groceries. Yeah. Like, obviously, if you're going to have that, obviously, like Instacart should not be doing that. That should be something that the instead of picking up trash in DC, that should honestly be something your National Guard is doing. Mm-hmm. Like, going to get your grocery orders and like dropping them off. Like that's how it works in like functioning countries like Vietnam. Like during COVID, like the military was literally dropping off banh mi's and bao at your door to make sure you didn't have to leave the house. But don't even get me started. Don't even get me started, bro.
I could go for some pho right now. But anyway, this is great reporting from Taylor. I know that she does some stuff that I don't agree with in terms of getting in internet fights sometimes that like I'm just like whatever. But like I think she is a great reporter. She's like one of the best pop culture, like internet culture journalists.
Well, her and Ryan Grimm got into it about like cell phones in schools, which that's like mommy and daddy fighting right there. But yeah, Taylor Lorenz has some funky opinions about like AI, which I am an AI guy, and I'm not an AI Luddite like she is, but whatever.
Well, look, I have my own ideas about clankers, but
clankers rule, dude.
Whatever. I'm not getting into that here. Regardless, she did great reporting here on this dark money group that is being funding essentially Democratic influences, including one of our faves, which we'll get to in just a minute. In a private chat in June, dozens of Democratic political influencers discussed their whether to take advantage of an enticing opportunity. They were being offered $8,000 per month. Wow. What could we do with $8,000 per month on this show?
Oh boy. I mean, I'm gone, dog. $8,000. I'm being Democrats abroad.
$8,000 per month to take part in a secretive program aimed at bolstering Democratic messaging on the internet. But the contract sent to them from Chorus, the nonprofit arm of a liberal influencer marketing program, came with some strings. Among other issues, it mandated extensive secrecy about disclosing their payments and had restrictions on what sort of political content the creators could produce. Mm-hmm. So look, here's like literally this is a selling your soul for like $8,000 a month. Now, again, why didn't they call us? Like, what's going on here? Like,
well, we were supposed to, in honesty, we were supposed to get involved with the Destiny slush fund, progressive or whatever. That's where like dudes like Xander Hall. Again, I'm so sorry. This is the most online episode of something that's going to be
online episode.
Yeah, this is literally going out over the airwaves, the analog airwaves,
where real people
of radio.
This is like Democratic spending millions of dollars to essentially, instead of allowing the media that like lifting up media that is independent and relying on that as a way to bolster their political program, they're essentially dictating from on high what is allowable for, and basically using in money to do it and saying like, hey, you have a following. Here's what you're gonna say, and here's what you're gonna say it, how you're gonna say it, and here's like $8,000 a month.
Well, what's what's surprising about that? Like a question mark.
Because what the Democrats
do. Exactly. Whip the voters. Blame the voters. Whip the voters. Whip your own party to get them in line, and now you're gonna whip the media. And now you're trying to whip the quote unquote new old media. Yeah. So it's like this is what they do. If they can't, they're the kid. We say this all the time. They're the kid that if they can't win the way they want to win, then they'll just take their ball and go home. They're not looking for the Joe Rogan on the right. What they're looking for is the Joe Rogan of the left. What they're looking for is somebody they can control, and it's just another tentacle of the controlled opposition party.
I want to also say this too, and we can continue in our little reading series here. This is happening when they have they're talking about these people with 800,000 TikTok followers or whatever. Like Hassan Piker was also at the DNC this year, and they kicked him out. He has a show that is essentially a stadium full of people every single day. He has 30,000 people minimum every single day in his chat talking and yapping. If you ever watch that chat, it's like scrolling, like whipping by like crazy. And he doesn't get a call from them. He gets kicked out of the DNC.
Well, I mean, because there's a couple reasons for that. Well, one, he's a monster that's beyond their control. Like he has no use. Like $8,000 to him now.
Ball. He won't play.
Yeah, is not going to move the needle for him now. $8,000 a month.
He wouldn't take the money anyway.
Right, and that's the second part of what I was going to say, because I was talking to my wife about this. Is that we're who's like Hassan Piker's memoirs are going to be wild. Like in 20 years, where he like writes his memoirs of like the stuff that we had no idea was going on about who he was dating at the time. They're going to be wild. But he has, and this is a good thing, this isn't a bad thing, obviously, he's painted himself into a corner of legitimacy to where he literally is stun locked. He would say this himself, the right thing to do is not to be a part of something like this. But cynically, he's painted himself to a corner to where all his ops, all his enemies are constantly trying to find a chink in his armor, trying to get to him, try to be like, you're not a real leftist, you're not a real socialist, you don't eat dirt, and you live in 4 walls. Yeah, you have a house and a car. They literally that. So he had everything he does to keep his spot of what he's built brick by brick by brick has to be above board. Mm-hmm. Just like a good analogy, a good whatever cross section would be like, comparison would be like, okay, Ethan Klein, also a millionaire, made million. His wife's terrible clothing brand, Teddy Fresh. Teddy Fresh is made in China. It's fast fashion and it's uglier than sin. And they did that to make profit. Hassan Piker, people will be like, he'll promote he has a clothing line. He'll promote it and people will come at him and say $50 for a t-shirt. And he'll say, yep, $50 for a t-shirt, dog. It's union made, American made material. And he goes, I make $3 worth of profit off of every one sold. I do this for the fans. Because he literally, and it's not even like, you could be like, oh, wow, what a magnanimous guy. But we'll give him that, but he's locked into that. He can't get away from that.
Well, not just that. He's like I think he does actually believe in that kind of stuff.
I do believe that,
but I believe also modeling behavior for other content creators.
For me, absolutely.
And he's not somebody. And again, we were talking about prior to the show. Like a lot, there's this issue with leftists and their sort of like allergy to making money outside of certain circles. That's not what this is about. Mm-hmm. This is about the Democratic Party essentially owning these creators with like dirt cheap amounts, really.
Dirt cheap, dude.
But yeah, this is a quote from a group chat from this. So quote, should we send a joint email with all of our email addresses, or are we going to just send things separately and hope they change everything for everyone? Said Lorenzo, a non-binary creator in Columbus, Ohio, with over 884,000 TikTok followers. He asked in the group. Some joked about the collective bargaining. Any Newsies fans in here? Wow. You know what, though? Like, that's interesting because it's like an actual an actual instinct to push back and the idea that they're going to do it collectively. Now, did they do it? No. The Influencers in the Chat Collective had at least 13 million followers across social platforms. They represented some of the most well-known voices online and posting in support of Democrats, and they're key to wherever the party moves next. But ultimately, the group didn't make much progress. Quote, reading through this revised Coors contract, like you win some, you lose some, a reproductive justice influencer named Pari, who posted under the handle Women in America, posted in the thread. So essentially, like they were like early rumblings of these sort of like people that were bought off, like saying like, hey, we want to control this message, we want to control this narrative, and essentially I guess the bag was too big, they didn't want to mess with it.
Well, I'm sure what happened, and as a former lanyard boy myself, like hanging around in DNC circles and stuff, I'm sure what happened was a good amount of those people were actually like, wow, this is a great opportunity. And I get it completely. They're like idealists. They're like, I get to, my voice is going to be heard. And the Democratic Party is promoting it. This is great. And then you had other people like David Pakman who knew what time it was right from the start. They already knew what was up. They're like, oh yeah, this is just another, I'm pushing crypto. I'm pushing scam binary options. I'm pushing scam gold. This is just one more scam I'm pushing.
Also, he's pushing Israel, but he was pushing
exactly, and this is hand to hand. Like, yeah, he'd been pushing Israel
for years. Democrats have struggled to work with influencers. In 2024, President Joe Biden's White House snubbed several prominent content creators after they lightly criticized the administration over its policies on climate change, COVID, Gaza, and the TikTok ban. Content creators who challenged Kamala Harris, including Hassan Piker, a well-known influencer on the left, were similarly unwelcome at campaign events. So, like, after the Democrats lost in November, they faced a reckoning. It was clear that the party had failed to successfully navigate the new media landscape, while Republicans spent decades producing a powerful and robust independent media infrastructure, maximizing controversy to drive attention and maintaining tight relationships with creators, despite their small disagreements with Trump. That's the other thing, too, because I guess it is a little bit of like a crazy mirror, because they do have platforms and they do get heavily funded from the top on the right. Like extremely, like Charlie Kirk is not a grassroots voice by any stretch. That's the idea that people want you to have when you think about somebody like him, or like Steven Crowder or Ben Shapiro or whatever. They get or Glenn Beck or all these freaks. Like they get their money from like huge donors, right? And they sort of have this veneer. The only one that's really independent that like has independent wealth is Tucker Carlson. And like he's basically a white nationalist.
That's CIA money. That's old CIA money too. So.
Yeah, old CIA and Swanson. Swanson
Foods.
Swanson Foods. But yeah, I don't know, man.
You do know, and that's the thing. I think keeping it to the most online show of all time. Right. The same thing with like the Twitch botting. That's what, the Twitch is finally cracking down on view botting because it's messing with their money, because advertisers are hip to the game and they don't want to spend money on this. That's the same thing. What happens on these podcasts, on these Tim Pools and this Steven Crowder, they get bankrolled for a while. And then it becomes like Peter Thiel or whoever. And then they decide this is too much of a loss leader for me. I'm kind of done with it. And then their advertisers find out, hey, this really never really had any grassroots support. This was always just AstroTurfed. And then their advertisers go away because they figure out, hey, this guy's really not getting the views that he says he's getting. That's just what happened. That's what's happening to the Daily Wire right now. It was propped up by Peter Thiel money for so long, and now he's finally dropped it. And just so I don't want to play no more. It's become too much. I don't want to be out here funding Lady Ballers too. So it's like he's like, I'm done with it. And then the whole house of cards just crumbles because these people really had no grassroots base anyway. They had
not even just that. Like,
they didn't have 30,000 people in the Hasanabi chat who are there to hear the man talk. Well, they're just there because it's pumped in their face. Kind of like old terrestrial radio is a good example. Think of a good thought experiment for this that I think lines up perfectly, and I'll let you go, is that think about all the music we listened to as kids that was popular, that these people these record labels made millions of dollars on, tours all around the world, merchandise, CD sales, whatever. Think about without terrestrial radio and without people like listening to that in their car, without being pumped that, every time they turn on their car engine, how many of those bands, how many of those music groups would have never made it?
Yeah.
Because they would have had no, first thing I think of in that pops in my head, Macy Gray. Find me a Macy Gray fan. I bet you know Macy Gray songs. Find me a Macy Gray fan. You can't find them. They don't exist.
Yeah, and again, it's like one of those things that are shoved down your throat, and then also, again, you mentioned the I don't want to play with you anymore side of it. It is that because again, the dog done caught the car. You don't need to pay for the dog chasing the car situation anymore because the dog caught the car. Everything that all of these people want, politically speaking, they are getting right now. Yeah. They're getting absolute full control over the entire U.S. government and their entire branding, especially of the Ben Shapiros, the Matt Walshes, and all these freaks. They want to also, at the same time, whine about being aggrieved. That's why they have to focus on, like, oh, the Superman movie, that's so woke or whatever. They have to focus on this.
Taylor Swift getting engaged. Yeah. Let me tell you how that's the downfall of
human society.
Western civilization.
Yeah, they have to focus on culture, which is their like white whale or whatever. And like they also do control like considerable amounts of culture in this country as well already, but they just have to pretend that they don't. They have to act like they're the permanent minority, that they're the permanent party or side or like aggrieved sort of component. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the Democrats who are actual literal losers and finding the worst ways to spend billions of dollars. So influence is included in communication. This is great. And communication about the program. And in some cases, an onboarding session for those receiving payments or the 1630 fund include Olivia Juliana, the centrist Gen Z influencer who's that was a Freudian slip, I suppose, who spoke at the 2024 Democratic National Convention. Laura Pietra, a former Playboy executive turned political influencer who hosts a podcast for Occupy Democrats. I will say, I do love Occupy Democrats. It is the craziest, most insane posting like Twitter page.
I thought it was just a bot. I didn't know that was like. I didn't know there was actual people behind that. Like, this is obviously just a bot that just tweets out garbage. Like, what? People are doing this and they're getting paid for it? Why am I going to work? I don't understand.
They're the worst.
I'm making slop, bro. I'm a slop tuber now.
Slop is key.
Ridiculous, dude.
Barrett Adair, a content creator who runs an American Girl doll themed DNC theme account. Suzanne Lambert, who called herself a quote Regina George liberal. Ariel Fodor, an education creator with 1.4 million followers on TikTok. Sandra Jennings, blah 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 blah. David Pakman,
garbage.
An independent progressive show. Independent. Again, I have to use quotes with my fingers when you say independent. Because again, if you're receiving money from the Democrat, like high dollar amounts, and I would consider $8,000 a month high dollar amounts from
well, like he was the most obvious to me because again, like that guy was doing scam. He was as soon as he started, the writing was on the wall when he started doing scam ads, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, binary options, gold stuff. He started doing the Alex Jones like advertising. Portfolio. I'm like, bruh, like just drop your Cash App, man. Like, is it that bad? I'm not giving you any money. I'm not giving Zionist any money. But like, yeah, I mean, so if he can take that money, then he can take this money. Like, he's not gonna, if he's already sleeping with himself, you know what I mean? He's already fine with taking that garbage money. He can take this too. Like, this isn't a stretch for him. That was the most people were surprised by that because they think he's bigger than he is. And that's another one of those things where like people see people online and they think, oh, this guy's got a quote unquote studio. He's not sitting in his home with a a green screen Starship background behind him. It's like this guy's in a proper studio, so he must be making all the money. He wasn't. Yeah. Especially when he made that Zionist turn. People dropped him.
It's the same as like the Young Turks taking
Polymarket Studios. Yeah, once you dip into that Polymarket Studios, once you're Anna Kasparian, you can start dipping into that valuetainment money. That who just hosted Bibi Netanyahu with zero pushback about anything, and he's just sitting there telling the Syrian men, and that's a shame.
I thought he was Persian.
Well, the other guy's Syrian.
Okay.
Your boy PBD is Persian, Iranian, and he's just sitting up there. He killed his countrymen for no reason, and he's sitting up there associating with that man. Disgusting. And Anna Kasparian taking that money to do that her take, sitting next to that racist who's famous for just like starving people and making them go on crash diets and The Biggest Loser just so they can regain all that weight.
Don't forget the emotional abuse. You can't forget the emotional abuse.
Garbage human. Anna Kasparian, trash can.
According to copies of the contract viewed by Wired that creator signed, the influencers are not allowed to disclose their relationship with Chorus or the 1630 Project, or functionally that they're being paid at all. So essentially, contractually speaking, they are not allowed to even disclose. What you got to hide, dog? Like, what you hiding over here? Like, why if you are like that is like so telling on yourself that like you're stealing, like when you sign that contract, you are selling your soul to the devil.
No, absolutely, 100%.
Like you're basically saying that like you're gonna do this, like horrible thing, and you're basically signing an NDA that you're even involved in it.
We got people on YouTube saying we're echoing. That's probably me, right? Am I screaming?
No, maybe.
I don't know. I mean, on my end, that shouldn't be me because you're the one recording it, but whatever.
Yeah.
My end, I'm not even in the orange. Mm-hmm. I'm not even in the yellow. Right. So I don't know. But just in case
let's you could do something.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's go. Anyway, no, that's the thing though. It's like, yeah, these cats will sell out on the cheap. Like they will take this little bit of money that and burn all goodwill that they ever built with their communities, because there ain't no way like you climbed up unless you're a complete corporate plant, like a complete DNC shill. There ain't no way that you started doing this, talking, yelling at no one on the internet to get to this point to be like, I'm gonna burn everything I ever created from the ground up for $8,000. Unbelievable. It's like, no. But that being said, Good Morning Comrade I am open to a Kick deal. So Kick, if you want to give me the bag, I will take the bag. But let it be known, I'm gonna pull an iShowSpeed on you, and we're gonna stream one time for 30 minutes.
Live from China.
And then we're closing the account.
Live from Shanghai.
So Kick.com, I will steal your money, just like you steal all them children's money who play around on your sketchy, unregulated crypto casino.
By the way, it is the bottom of the hour. You are listening to WHIVLP New Orleans 102.3. This is Good Morning Comrade. Just to kind of move forward on this, if I want to work with another politician, I have to fully collaborate with them, said one creator who was offered the contract but ultimately declined to take it and asked not to be named. If I get a Zoran and he wants to do an interview with me, I don't want to give that to them.
Okay, this is why I don't understand. So if let's
they don't want media. They want like state media. They want like the joke. Remember the bit? Yeah. And it was like obviously not real. But remember the movie Airplane?
Yeah.
They had the they were reading all the news or whatever, and they had the the North Korean news, and it was like a news reporter reading by gunpoint.
Yeah, that's exactly what they want.
Exactly what they want.
But here's what I don't understand. Let's so for real, if I'm being 100% serious, if we had motion like that and they came to us with that kind of deal, I would get the contract and I would run it through an attorney, and I would ask them, how far can I take this? Mm-hmm. And then break it before they could sue me, because like I don't understand this thing. Like you're talking to Wired, but you don't want to give your name. Like I'm using this for content. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna be like, oh, we're gonna be up in here, and then at the last second, we're gonna burn them, and then just let the whole thing blow the lid off the whole thing and turn it into content. Can
I disclose this contract that I've been shown and potentially offered, but have not signed?
Right.
Like, I imagine that you could do that, but maybe not. I'm not a lawyer.
So it's like this person that doesn't want to talk to him. I'm like, if you didn't sign the contract and you're not under an NDA, I don't understand. What do you want from the DNC? What do you want access? I don't want access to that. I don't like, there's no, I want them to know if we get to the point where we had motion. See, this is what I'm talking about. We got people on YouTube. I love you. I'm just messing around. People on YouTube who are boomers and don't know how to use their computer, saying our audio was bad. But I love you. I'm just screwing with you. But
there are some really great advantages to housing up this program in a nonprofit, Graham Wilson said, a lawyer working with Chorus. He said to creators on a Zoom call reviewed by Wired. It gives us the ability to raise money from donors. And also with this structure, it avoids a lot of public disclosure or public disclaimers, paid for by blah, 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 that you see on political ads. We don't need to deal with any of that. Your names aren't showing up on like reports filed with the FEC. Wilson did not reply to a request for comment. So like what they're essentially saying is that they're they're saying that like, hey, we are literally circumventing the rules, the FEC rules for like funding campaigns.
Oh, that's that's the game.
It's so awesome.
Yeah, who's gonna stop us? That's the game.
FEC declined to comment, by the way.
Who gonna stop us? And that's the thing. And you know what? I heard somebody say, some streamer or something. They said, "Oh man, the right wing's gonna get a hold of this and they're gonna go crazy." And I'm like, not really.
Yeah, they don't care.
Not really, dog. Because well, it's not even that. It's like, who's gonna go? One, it's way too online. Mm-hmm. Two, who's gonna sink their teeth into this? Tim Pool?
Yeah.
Ben Shapiro?
Who's gonna tell me something like this is be like, look at those losers over there. Look how pathetic they are. Let's move on. Like that's really what it is.
Yeah.
It's really like pathetic loser stuff. The goal of Chorus, according to a fundraising deck obtained by Wired. Oh, they got the slides. Is to build a new infrastructure to fund independent progressive voices online at scale. Which, by the way, there is a network of people. There are people that are already creating all kinds of content that are actually pushing for ideas and pushing for things. This is not what they want.
Yeah, if they really wanted that, they could have went right to Means TV.
They could have went
and just bought Means. They could have just bought Means TV.
Yeah, they could have went to any of these like existing people who go out there and they post like all day, all night. They do it for the love of the game, and they could have funded them. But instead, they were like, hey, we're going to find people that will amplify again. And this is the important part. They want their message, the people who run the Democratic Party, the people who are like influential in the Democratic Party, to have their message get out, and they want to isolate and drown out and silence anything that challenges that. They want the biggest hug box imaginable. Mm-hmm. They want the biggest hug box that you can possibly imagine, so that they never ever have to be like, they never have to change. They can say, oh yeah, Harry Sasson or Olivia Giuliana's like abundance is awesome, and we're gonna cite that because that's a cool young millennial who is hip and with it or whatever. And look at them, they're talking about abundance, and it's just like, come on.
Now, I mean, and we talk to the audience, and then we also do like inside baseball for other content creators. Mm-hmm. We're kind of, I'm talking to them right now. Of course, like a David Pakman and all these other like Turbo Libs, I never trusted them. But what this should show you is when you combine the way this is falling apart with the way that, Alyssa Slotkin having to go on Breaking Point.
That's actually
with because of Zoran Mondani, that Richie and how people in his own district
going on Adam Friedland's show.
Had to go on Adam Friedland's show. If we just hold the line, old media is dead. Like we are going to be the last generation that like remembers old media. Old media is gone, dude. So
MS Now is like the sort of like that is the end. That is death for old media.
Dude. It's over. So if we just hold the line, they have to come to us. Yeah. They have to. And then when they come to us groveling, we just hit them over the head with the socialist mallet over and over. We hit them over the head with the anti-genocide mallet over and over again. And they have no excuse but to just take it. They have no other thing. They have to sit up there and do a humiliation ritual, you know, with Adam Freeland and Crystal Ball.
Yeah.
So just hold the line.
Which is
don't sell. Apes strong together.
Keep going. Build it up. Let's go. Because when the Titanic does sink, there's gonna be a lot of waves that are made. so sure. Bang, get on those lifeboats and get moving. You know.
And I'll tell you something else, young budding content creators out there. This is a good time to get in the game. The old guard is falling apart. And now the new guard will rise. As you see, you know, your favorite liberal content creators, whether they get caught up in scandals like this or they get outed as literal pedophiles, they're done. It's this top heavy thing that we have of just like, you know, social media, it's crumbling. It's your time. It's time to get in the game. Podcasting equipment is cheap. When you make it to the top, don't forget about your boy down here.
Yeah.
Pull us up.
I love this. Keith Edwards, a Democratic content creator who has skyrocketed to fame on YouTube since starting his channel last year, was not invited to be part of the program, but believes that the way it was structured seemed, quote, predatory. He says that he would never agree to take part in a program that was run in secret or wouldn't allow him to disclose funding. Quote, what I don't understand is why you wouldn't just donate to creators directly who have already built something and just need to put gasoline on the
fire. Why wouldn't you?
Democrats at least understand that the internet exists now, so that's good. But they still think that influencers are just there to do a terrible direct-to-camera interview that no one watches, rather than just treating us like another form of media, which that's actually like that's like such a fire take of this entire project. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know who Keith Edwards is, but that's a very funny way to put it.
No, I mean, it's like it's one of those moments that's like, you sweet summer child. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, yeah.
I mean, he might be being willfully obtuse, at least. You know, like he might be doing that on purpose to be like to have some kind of like deniability or innocence or whatever. Maybe he's more sure to do it, but like, yeah, he's just doing the like, I don't know, why don't they just like give money to people who are doing, you know, good work already? Which, like, also Hasan kind of does that too. He does kind of like, you know, he does sort of like play nice with Democrats because he recognizes, I guess, the threat of the like hard American right.
Well, and he's a lot like you and believes in electoral politics, which I don't think is naive. It's the only system we got. You don't see me rushing out with a tack vest on and a beret ready to go get it on. So it's like, hey, yeah, it's all we're doing right now, and it's all we're ever going to be doing for the future. I just don't believe in it anymore, but I just like you don't knock me, like I don't knock you, and I think that we talked about that earlier. I don't know if we weren't actually recording the show.
Well, we agreed to the extent that like we agreed to, at least in an analysis perspective of like, hey, like if there is going to be a way to engage with this, it needs to be a lot more hostile than it is.
Yes, it needs to be aggressive and mean.
Yeah, and that's it. But however, like I guess your perspective is like, what is the juice worth the squeeze? And mine is that, like, what else you're gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, you might as well put your back into it.
No, I think it is worth the squeeze as long as you have you. Again, it goes down to holding the line. I'm not trying to get my voice heard. I'm trying to shout yours. Yeah. Like literally, we're taking over. You know, in my dream is we're taking over precincts by just showing up with enough crusty leftists, more than you can turn out turbo libs from the suburbs. That's what we're doing. Like that can be done, but this thing of just like, you know, let's have a big tent Democratic Party. No, we're not having a big tent Democratic Party. Liberals must be go. Liberals go. You are right wingers. Go be with the right wing. That's what you need to go do, but you don't want to do that. So really, I mean, you see it, and that sounds crazy. Somebody be like, "Oh, it's crazy." Okay, then why the Democrats? Why can't they win an election anywhere? Mm-hmm. It's because they can't activate the left. There's literally not enough liberals left. The middle cannot hold.
It's not that they can't activate the left. It's that they willfully reject and alienate the left.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, they sort of like blame the left for whatever their own woes are. So again, we just saw it in the last election.
Yes.
If you essentially are appalled by the extremely popular position of not bombing and starving, defenseless people in Gaza, if you are against that, if you're against stopping that, then you need to be completely alienated. You have no place in the Democratic Party. We won't even let you say a word at our convention, right? You get shut out, you get closed out, you are silenced, you are marginalized, you are out of us. You need to believe that the United States military has to be the strongest fighting force that exists on Earth, and that is a good thing, and that's the way it ought to be. And if you don't believe that, you are the problem. And I mean, when you specifically on the Gaza issue, it's polling at like 90%.
Yeah,
90% nationwide of people that are essentially don't support the policies of what we're doing at the very least, which is genocidal. And if you don't support those policies, then even though you're in the huge super duper 90+% majority, I should say, of people who support it, then you don't even get to say a word at our convention. And like, this is why when somebody who is completely, utterly, and totally disingenuous, like Marjorie Taylor Greene or Candace Owens or whoever, steps up and says, "I don't like what they're doing to them kids in Gaza," like, they essentially are at least identifying a politically opportunistic moment where they can push for like short-term gains, not necessarily for the cause of Gaza or anything like that, but for themselves. People will respond to that. And the Democrats are literally just fingers in their ears. We must stomp this idea out.
Well, the two things with that, about Marjorie Taylor Greene, the problem with running a cult is you're going to drag in a couple true believers.
Yeah.
And those true believers, you have to like isolate them. It goes back to the analogy I think I've said before.
I don't think she's a true believer, by the way.
You don't think so? I think she's a true believer in America, in like America First.
Oh yeah, no. But
that's what I mean. She's a true believer
when it comes to the like caring about people being bombed in Gaza.
Oh, she doesn't care about that. No.
She wants that money to be diverted, not to
build more prisons here.
To build more prisons, to build a wall, to attack, to essentially occupy as many cities as we possibly can with the National Guard and military.
Sure, absolutely. But that's what I mean by being a true believer. She really believes that, like, she doesn't understand why all this money is going to Israel when it should be going, into buying surplus weapons for cops on the street. Like, so that's what I mean by being a true believer. Like, an analogy I would have for her would be Tom Cruise in Scientology. The worst thing Scientology ever did was recruit Tom Cruise, because Tom Cruise actually believes this foolishness. And then
it has an amplifier effect.
Yeah. But then the second part is to condense everything you just said. And I just kind of lost my train of thought.
No, that's okay.
Dang. It'll come back to me. Go ahead. Read the article.
1630 Fund has emerged as a powerful funder in Democratic spaces in recent years. That's who commissioned this chorus group or whatever, which hilarious chorus is very funny as a name. Its website notes that issues supported by the organization include, quote, economic equality, affordable health care, climate solutions, racial justice, voter access, and, quote, other essential social change goals. So it's like these broad concepts of ideas, but nothing specific in terms of the policy. It's literally just like the signs that people put on their houses, like, in this house we believe in science and
Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, like all that stuff. And it doesn't actually get any more specific than that. Like, it's literally just like banner flagship, like, here's what we believe in, and it's all these sort of like incredibly general thoughts and ideas that sort of like are associated with the Democrats or the American left. But when it comes to actual policy, okay, if you believe in essential social change goals, or if you believe in affordable health care, I believe in affordable health care too. Of course I do. That's why I support Medicare for all. And then when you say, oh, let's talk about Medicare, who among these people are pushing for Medicare for all is my question. And I genuinely asked that question. Like, are there any of the folks that are in this chorus or this 1630 fund? Why don't they just push for Medicare for all, a policy that is, again, overwhelmingly popular? At its peak, it was polling over 60%. Why don't you have that be Medicare for all, which is something that American people want?
Why gotta understand, dog? It's the parliamentarian.
When you say
parliamentarian, big dog, he's putting the brakes on it.
When you say
what can we do?
When you say climate solutions, why don't you just say the Green New Deal? When you talk about, racial justice, what does that mean? It's just racial justice is just this vague deal. When you believe in economic equality, does that mean unions? Because that's the one way that in this history, in the history of this country, where there was more of an economic parity than there ever was, is when unions were at their strongest. So why don't you just say we believe in strong unions? Why don't we say that? Why has it got to be these vague, super 50,000 feet ideas and not something specific enough that can actually be acted upon? It's literally just stuff that you put in the mission statement, and you don't actually care about that. You're just saying that this is broad enough that we can continue doing what we're doing, and supporting Democrats that already are in place, who, when they say economic equality or racial justice, they mean, student loan forgiveness for small business owners who are from, certain specific minorities in certain specific zip codes. You know what I mean? Like these very, very, very specific policies that don't actually affect that many people, that aren't even popular because they're so thin. You know what I mean? They're like, what would be popular in terms of economic equality? Forgiving student loans. Why don't you support that? Because this country has more student loan debt than it's ever had.
No, dog, because we can't use money for that, because that money's got to go to Israel, bro. You don't understand. Yeah. It's got to go to the only democracy in the Middle East, which has an apartheid system of separate roads and separate license plates. And because America somehow. It's. I mean, I'm glad that. I don't know. I don't have the answers here, man. Like, this thing is falling apart at a rapid rate. I don't see. I really don't see how we're not cooked. But we still have to have, as long as we're here, we got to have revolutionary optimism. Well, but it's just getting harder every day.
I mean, we could, obviously, we could just like slide into like nihilism or whatever. I mean, that's one thing that I guess we could potentially do. But like, unless there is a way off or out, and that's the thing. We got to essentially make the thing work as best that we can, and influence the best we could, unless we feel like it's pointless, unless it's beyond redemption, and then turn your brains off in game all the time, which I do that. I have my periods where I do that, but also I mean, like, I the reason I do this work is not because I feel like I don't necessarily feel like we're at the precipice of like the change that will sort of like usher in that sort of hashtag full communism or whatever. But like at the same time, I'm going to do the best that I can to build as much power for a left movement that I possibly can. Just to kind of continue this like thrust of this article.
Please do.
The structure of the program highlights vast differences between how Democrats and Republicans attempt to amass an online influence. I think this part is important. Republicans have spent decades building up a powerful independent media ecosystem, though the right-wing influencer world is far from transparent. In September 2024, a federal indictment alleged that Russian state-sponsored network RT was covertly providing millions in funding to Tenet Media, a company working with major right-wing influencers, including Benny Johnson, Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, and Lauren Southern. In 2024, the Republican Congressional Committee spent nearly $500,000 on work with the Creator Grid, an influencer marketing company whose website says it, quote, connects Republican candidates with the internet's most powerful conservative influencers. Stephen Buckley, a digital media sociologist at St. George's University of London, says that these sorts of programs have been, quote, happening in the right wing for ages. But Hyder said that it's another academic that was spoken earlier, but they said that the structure of the 1630 deal, fund deal, raises the question: is it ethical to match tactics of your opponents? I actually do think it's ethical. If this was something that was actually promoting people to like push for like if you're essentially just funding media to if you're funding media to essentially amplify the independent voices that exist, that's a good thing. If you are just sort of like boiling down and whipping those voices to respond to you, that's the bad thing. It's essentially like a difference of just sort of like, you know, a difference is
it's not even a point now that, I mean, we can't even talk about matching tactics because you're talking about matching entities between the GOP, Russian state oligarchs and the Democratic Party. Like, you know, what are the differences in these three pictures? They're all the same picture. Like if Good Morning Comrade was to get a check from like Venezuelan oil or like, I don't know, Cuban sugarcane or something like that, then like, exactly. But I'm saying like something like that. I'm like, yeah, like that would be matching tactics, but that ain't happening. So it's like, yeah, I would take, you know, big Burkina Faso. If we were up here running, you know, ads for the Burkina Faso, like produce canneries, you know, taking money from, you know, Ibrahim Traoré, like that would be matching tactics. But this isn't matching tactics. This is just dueling sock puppets. This is North Korea versus South Korea, just dueling proxies going at each other, both backed by, you know, the richest countries in the world. Like who cares? Like this, the idea that you could take this money and think like we're pushing back against the GOP's corruption and Tim Pool's propaganda, his Russian propaganda is so it's so baby brained that I can't even get over it.
Yeah, well, I do think it is funny to like question the ethics of. I mean, like obviously there is an ideological warfare that is taking place, and the idea, and again, you know, I do think there's an important question, like if, you know, for example, Cuba was going to give us that sweet cigar money, you know, would it be ethical for us to take it and push a, you know, pro, you know, communist agenda? And like, obviously, I'm saying that while I'm very aware that we are on community radio and this is a complete hypothetical, and like if that was to be the case, we would not be on community radio. We would be doing this to a different measure because of legalities and whatever. But like, if we were not a part of WHIV, for example, would it be ethical for us to take money from Cuba to push their line? And I don't think it's unethical. You know what I mean?
Not at all. Not when again,
we're already in agreement.
But these are cross things. You know, Radio Free Cuba exists, you know, from out of Miami. So this would just be the actual, this would be the actual you know, the synonym to that. But these things are no different. You know, the donors, the people who are giving money to keep right wingers afloat on, you know, talking heads are the same people giving money to keep these liberals afloat. They're pumping out the same message just with a different tone. It's garbage. That's why you have all these intersecting ideas of just like the Democrats are like, I mean, the Republicans are like, hey, anybody with the skin color, the color of a paper grocery bag, we're going to send them to Louisiana Turbo Jail. We're going to send them to Alligator Alcatraz, where the Democratic Party's like, oh, we're fine with that too. But can we at least have the buses that we transport them, the prison buses? Can they have a snack on the way?
Yeah,
like that. That's the difference. What are we talking about?
Also a private contract for our buddies.
Yeah. What are we talking? Like, there's no difference. It's like the Uniparty is real. It's not a conspiracy. All you have to do is follow the money. All you have to do is go on opensecrets.org and you will see the Uniparty laid out for you in full detail. This isn't a bunch of dudes twisting mustaches and ladies with, stiletto heels, clicking them and cackling, going, ha ha ha. This is just, oh, we're getting the bag. Oh, Richie Torres. Oh, I'm getting the bag and I'm getting a free trip to Israel. The same thing that Ben Shapiro, the same thing that every other Republican politician got. And that's how these messages converge. Mm-hmm. It's not rocket science.
Yeah. And I guess if there is sort of like a final takeaway, do find, again, mainstream media, ain't nobody watching that stuff. Find media that is independent. Find media that is, the word grassroots.
And dig into it. Like, if they doesn't pass the smell test of like, why is this person, this seems like slop. Like, why is this person so popular? Like, dig into them and find out like where the money's coming from. Is it coming from the Polymarket Studios? Like, find out.
Yeah. When
follow the money.
I will say to a certain extent too, and we do have to shut it down in a second. But like I don't want to be, I get it why, people will have their ads or whatever in their show. That's just one way to make money. And like, this is a show that doesn't make a lot of money. We don't make any money. I mean, we're on, but like the whole point of it is like if like, be aware of how that, if you're watching media or whatever, if they're doing ads, be aware of the who they're advertising and where that's coming from, even though, and again, this is important as well, there has to be an authentic voice there, because when you basically have these people that will just align with, high profile Democrats, and if you challenge that, like Olivia Giuliana, you're the problem. Then I would be very questioned towards that. You know what I mean? And that's just sort of like what I want to leave it with.
Absolutely. Those are great closing thoughts.
Yeah. So shout out to the people. What do you want to say to the folks, Robert?
Give us money. Go to our Patreon. I don't know. I hope everybody's having a good week. It's the Katrina anniversary. So
man, we didn't even talk about Katrina.
That's heavy. And looking on your people who survived Katrina, because there's a lot of people who have PTSD here in New Orleans.
Oh, buddy, I actually was very intentional about not wanting to talk about Katrina, so we're not going to do it.
Let's don't do it.
But yeah, thank you to everybody for listening. You can follow me on Twitter at Eminent Prof. Follow the show on Twitter at Comrade Morning. You could check out our new
TikTok.
TikTok. You can check out our new our new Cracker Barrel inspired logo.
Oh yeah, it's pretty good.
And thanks to everybody for listening. We love you. Bye-bye.
See you.